CES is here, Panasonic is creating a TV that knows who you are, Apple may be rolling out a cheaper iPhone, Qualcomm asserts that users are now being born mobile, and file sharers get handed hefty prison sentences. I'm Monica Helms with Petra Industries, and I'm here to bring you 5 of this week's hottest news stories, all right here on Petra Channels. It's official, CES is here. I'd just like to remind you that through Friday, you can come visit Petra Industries in booth 6516 LVCC in the North Hall iLaunch Pavilion, where we're showing off products and accessories from Petra's Wireless HQ. We're also handing out scratch and play game cards, good for $500 in cash, or as well as other great prizes, possibly. If you don't make it to CES, don't worry. We're also posting photos to our Facebook page as often as we can. Panasonic followed what's becoming a common theme at CES, when it revealed a new My Home Screen feature on its latest television. The idea behind the concept is to make your TV do the work of finding the shows you want to watch by offering customized suggestions of TV shows, streaming shows, and internet content, all on one screen. This concept puts all of the content in one place, so viewers don't have to search separately for things like TV shows and video on demand. Each family member will even have his or her own personalized screen, but get this, they won't have to sign into anything. Instead, the higher-end models from Panasonic will have a built-in camera, which uses face recognition technology to determine whose preferences to display. Panasonic isn't the only one to get the idea either. Samsung is also introducing a similar homepage, which will incorporate social networks into the mix. This new line of Panasonics will also have a simplified way of sharing content from mobile phones and tablets, which can then be sent to the screen with a swipe. Once on the TV screen, the images can be edited with a special pen for color touch-ups and even writing messages, and these changes can be saved to the same mobile device they originally came from. Also on the way from the company is a voice recognition program, which will let you speak commands into your remote instead of tapping buttons. In all, Panasonic will introduce 32 TVs, including 16 plasma and 16 LCD models. Rumor has it Apple will be rolling out a cheaper iPhone in the second half of 2013, according to a report from Digitimes. Rumors and speculation have run rampant for months that the company would soon roll out a low-cost iPhone, aimed primarily at the emerging markets, in order to compete with cheaper Android-powered phones. Consumers in these emerging markets have been drawn to Android-powered phones due to a simple lack of purchasing power to afford Apple's iPhone. And while wildly popular in the US, its global market share leaves a bit to be desired, as Android commands a solid 70+%. Much like the iPad mini, a cheaper iPhone might simply be a strategy on Apple's part to preserve its operating system. After all, the more people use iOS, the more attractive it is for developers to develop apps for it. And the more apps iOS has, the more attractive the device is to users. Despite a lower price point, Digitimes claims that this cheap iPhone will have a larger screen, following along with the trend first started by Samsung and other Android makers. For Apple investors, this begs the question, will this reduce Apple's margins? And for Apple customers, the question comes down to availability. Will this cheaper iPhone debut in the US, perhaps as an option for prepaid mobile users? And if the device does indeed come with a larger screen, will that mean a potentially iPhone 5S or even 6 will have one as well? I guess we'll have to wait and see. The expansion of mobile was the topic at Monday's CES keynote, delivered by chipmaker Qualcomm's chief executive Paul Jacobs. Mobile technology is no longer limited to laptops, smartphones, and tablets. It's seeping into every inch of our lives, including television and movies, cars, the workplace, healthcare, education, and eventually our bodies. Qualcomm took the reins for the keynote from Microsoft. Though not as much of a household name, the company says it has shipped 11 billion chips in its 27 years, and its mobile processors power mobile devices you use every day. Starting with a series of characters, the company drove the point home that each one of these people was born mobile. And it seems to ring true. According to Jacobs, 84% of people worldwide say they can't go a day without their mobile phone. The smartphone interface has also become so common that people now want it on their other devices. For that matter, the Android mobile operating system is already expanding to smart TVs, cameras, and Google's Project Glass smart glasses. Jacobs goes so far as to suggest that the mobile industry assumes that eventually everything will be connected to the internet, with cars, household appliances, and mobile devices all communicating with each other. This concept, called the Internet of Things, has been around for years, but the recent boom in low-cost sensors and popular gadgets like the Nest Smart Thermostat have led to more gadgets with web connectivity. Said Jacobs, it's really going to empower us by giving us more information about ourselves and our environment. Last week, convicted file sharer Jeremiah Perkins was handed the longest prison sentence ever given in a U.S. file-sharing lawsuit, 5 years. The 40-year-old from Portsmouth, Virginia, was given the sentence today by U.S. District Judge Arenda Wright Allen, according to Wired. Perkins pled guilty to conspiracy to commit copyright infringement by file-sharing movies, music, games, and more on the internet. Perkins is said to have been the leader of a group that went to theaters, camcorded the movies, recorded the audio, synced the files, and then distributed the product on the internet. Known as Imagine, the group became one of the most known piracy groups in the world between 2009 and 2011. According to the indictment, the group would use computer software to digitally refine and edit the video and audio portions of a motion picture and combine or synchronize the two components into audiovisual movie files. The group rented servers in France, Canada, and the US and hosted several websites such as unleashthedot.net. The sites included mobile profiles, a torrent tracker, discussion forums, a message board, news, even rules. The group raised money via donations and payments made from people downloading the copyrighted works. U.S. courts have become considerably more strict on file sharing cases in recent years. Last November, a file sharer was even handed a $1.5 million fine. 5 others involved in Imagine were also handed prison sentences. Word to the wise, stop downloading stuff illegally. That's all for this week's 5 and 5. While you wait for next week's edition, be sure to stop by one of our social media pages to get your fix on product features and the latest consumer electronic news stories. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and of course, YouTube.